Parental advisory. There is adult language in this podcast episode. Watch at your own discretion. Connected.
Okay.
I can hear
Okay.
you.
Now I can hear you.
There you are.
There we go.
There you go. Hell yeah. What's going on, dude? It's good to see you. Not spoken. We have FaceTimed one time in the 14 months that I've been gone.
Unfortunately, yes.
I'm sorry about that. I genuinely am. I am sorry about that.
I accept your apology.
Yeah. Yeah. You're my sixth podcast. And I have to say that this is becoming addicting. This figuring this out. I'm instead of giving my guest intros verbally, I'm better written language. And so I'm going to introduce my guests with my fingertips. Okay, so if I don't introduce you or have an outro for you, don't be offended or anything. So
Okay.
really good to
We're
see
not
you.
going right now, are we?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, good to see you, my friend.
Yeah. Good to see you too.
Dude, this is crazy, man.
Yeah. So where are you?
I really do love that you're doing this. Like,
Thank you. Thank you.
it's gonna be a great thing to like look back on
Mm.
in the future, you know?
Mm-hmm. Keep all of them. I just bought myself a terabyte. So I have a terabyte and a half. I have 2 full terabytes. That's what I have. I have 2 full terabytes of all my equipment added up to right now keep going. I have like 20 episodes locked in. After probably around 20 friends of mine who I just know are going to agree to do this. Even if they're nervous, I know that they're going to agree. And then once I do that, I was thinking in the shower, I think I want to expand and go to like childhood friends. Like people I grew up with when I was like 6, 7. I could go back to like Juanito. I had him as a neighbor up until I was 7. So from like 0 to 7, Juanito, Stephanie, and Diego. I just want to I think the FBI agent mentality of like doing all that research, finding out how to contact them about doing this would be really cool. Or even expanding and going to Brazil and just doing a Portuguese podcast and subtitling it. I think that would be crazy. I don't know. I really want to grow and explore this. So thank you so much for being my sixth.
Definitely, dude. Can't wait to see what you do.
Sweet. Thank you very much. So how is your family? Are you at home right now? Is anybody working? Is everybody staying home taking this seriously? What's going on?
Yeah, right now, I mean, just me and my folks out here in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad's just working from home.
Okay, good.
Which is good for him, you know. He just does like IT work.
Sure.
So all
So
his
he's
stuff he can
very
just do
skilled.
from computers. Right.
He's very
Right.
skilled. Cool.
Yep. And I just started my first full week back at where I'm working too, so that's good.
Is this a place that you would mind saying, or do you not care to?
Oh yeah, it's just a window cleaning place.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Which is something I never see myself doing before, but I've been there for about a year now. It's a decent job. My bosses are great. It's like a independently owned franchise.
Cool.
And we just work on houses and mostly working outside, doing gutters and like residential and commercial work, but just something that's keeping me going right now.
Sure. When you mentioned work, I was thinking church. I was thinking the church, film and video stuff.
Yeah, I actually did that again this week for the
Cool.
first time in about 2 months,
Nice.
and yeah, they really enjoyed me being there. I was doing the camera jib,
Hmm.
so
Oh,
it's like on a
dude.
nice big crane.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's super fun to get shots. And they said that it just made the live stream experience like that much different. So
Dude,
if I can help out there, then it's all right.
this church, I remember this. I totally forgot that aspect of your church that they have a jib arm or whatever you call it.
Yeah,
Freaking, that's so,
they have,
I have not seen that
yeah,
before.
they have 3 black magic cameras too that they've had for a couple of
Why,
years now too.
why are they so involved with their film? What's their reasoning behind the heavy promotion? Because I remember those videos being highly impressive.
Yeah, they just want to expand the landscape, I guess, for the pastor. They feel like he deserves a bigger platform than what he has right now, which I mean, I completely agree with, and I hope will happen for them eventually. But yeah, it always just seems like they've had a lot of resistance with getting there for some reason, which
Oh,
is super unfortunate, but which is why kind of the reason I'm helping out there. So
I'm
a
so
lot
glad
of
you are.
successful people come out of there too, like especially musicians, man. When I first started to learn how to play drums, the keyboardist who was playing there at the time was giving me lessons, and I just got like that's where I got really on my feet with drumming when I first started. And they're now like super successful out playing for all the top musicians and artists in
Wow.
LA. Well, of course, not right now, but
Yeah. I'm
so
still
it's
that
just like
there.
super surprising to see the talent that comes out of Kalamazoo
Hmm.
and that ends up extending beyond Michigan.
Yeah. And where are you with that? I know that you've released at least two EPs that I know of, right?
Yeah, as far as music, I mean, I haven't done anything super serious,
Mm.
but um, as of now, like recently, I haven't been too active, like with a lot of my creative friends, really, to be honest.
Or even just
And
solo stuff. I
yeah, I mean, yeah, for solo stuff, like for Christmas, I got myself a really nice computer and got myself the program Ableton 10, which is an amazing computer software. It's just a digital audio workstation
wow,
that a lot of people use. And I've just been learning that really for the last couple months.
good,
It's been a lot of fun.
cool. That's probably an upgrade from like Fruity Loops or what's the other one that
Yeah, this Fruity Loops GarageBand
sure.
is, the iTunes
Mm.
one, but I mean, you can look at it this way, like it doesn't matter which one you have, it's just like how you use it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Oh, dude, because GarageBand, I can go on there and make something. I can turn my keyboard into a piano keyboard and play with synths and this whole library of sounds. And I've sat there and just like with my headphones on, smoke a little bit and just like vibe out and I can make something, but I don't know what I'm doing. That's my thing is I don't know what I'm doing on GarageBand. For somebody who knows what they're doing, you can make something incredible. And I even want to do it. I want to teach myself to do it and just go for it and make music because I know that I'm very musically gifted, but I think it's It's untamed and it has no direction. It's aimless, but it's in here.
Sure.
And I think you might be in a similar situation, but I think far more advanced than me. I think that your musical talent. I remember one time, the first time that I knew you could sing, I could not believe what I heard come out of your face. We were on a film set, and Caleb Butler sang something, and you added to it. You just hit this note, and I went, "What the fuck was that?" It was crazy. And then I've heard you sing off and on over the years, like very briefly. No. I've seen you perform. I went to see you perform, and
In the
that was
punk band that I was in?
absolutely, absolutely
Yeah.
downtown Grand Rapids. Watching you perform, I
Oh, yeah.
was probably 6, 7 feet away from you, watching you perform with your eyes closed, and it was such a performance. It really was. You were very extreme. It was kind of scarring to see, honestly. It was like, uh, wow, that's so much
Very,
emotion. That's so much
it was very
emoting in
heavy.
public. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like too during those times.
So you're giving yourself to these people, probably having to have your eyes closed. What is it like afterwards? What is it a weird, like, I've just opened up to these people? Are you ever like looking for it in return? Are you looking for some sort of, what acknowledgement of your performance are you looking for, or are you trying to avoid after a performance?
Um, yeah, I guess afterwards I feel like it almost didn't happen. Like it's something that's so fresh that
Okay.
it's like
Oh,
it felt
dude,
like it was so
yes,
fake.
yes. Performing stand up is the same thing, because I will work on it, go up and perform, and when I sit back down at the table, I've forgotten my material. Like if you asked me, "Oh, that bit was really funny. Could you do it again or whatever?" I would not totally be able to remember because it's gone.
Sure.
That's so
Right.
interesting.
And I think something about that is like when you're in the moment, you're just so in the moment, like more than usual.
Yeah.
That is kind of like takes your not like takes your breath away. It kind of like just takes your mind away in
Yeah.
a way, you know.
You're transported somewhere that coming back is strange. It's like a come down of a drug. It's a high. Performing is a high for me, definitely.
For sure.
And there are different types of it, because I can have it socially too, where if I make you laugh really hard. I just made my dad just now, right before this podcast, 10 minutes before we started, I made my dad laugh until he cried. He was pounding his chest because he couldn't breathe. He thought he was going to pass
Yeah,
out. And I uh, did too. That feeling is a spike in my, it's that's like cocaine. That's a cocaine feeling. But performing on stage is like a longer lasting, stronger drug. It's kind of like a meth or a heroin. I don't exactly know the but yeah. So
it could be like it could be like adrenaline, you know.
absolutely. Yeah, I think so. I love relating to my friends who perform music in the way of doing it with stand up. Did I say that correctly? I don't remember if I um
I was too in the moment, bro.
right, yeah, going back and messing with me. Okay, so you're going back to work slowly. That's good, because 2 weeks ago so did I. I went back to cooking, and we're to go orders only. And I'm actually getting I'm hearing back from film jobs that I applied to last summer. I applied to a lot. And 2 companies have gotten back to me this spring saying, "Hey, are you still interested?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I also set myself up with a really nice computer. Not in Christmas, but it was March into April. I bought myself a new Mac. And, I just spent like $1,000 on it. And um, I felt I was able to do that comfortably with what I was getting from unemployment and the grant and all that. And now next is my camera. I need a camera. I don't have one. The best thing I have is this, which can shoot 4K. And now I have the terabitage and the computer to be able to process the footage. And I'm determined to make it big going into next year. I'm instead of like this year, I'm gonna no. I think going into next year, going into this decade, I think I'm doing good right now because of the coronavirus to set my professional career up. I really do. And I hope the same for you. I hope that you're able to find creative flow, creative freedom. Sit down at your computer if you're not, because I would listen to and watch anything that you do and promote it. I want to add your work into here, into the bio.
Yeah, I saw you talking with David about that, dude, and
Cool.
that's awesome, dude. I mean, like the opportunities that we have,
Yeah,
nowadays, if we give ourselves the opportunity really to do it, it's just amazing, bro.
for sure. Even with pipe reel, like
Like,
I kind of think this coronavirus has redirected my career in a very positive light. I'm excited for myself and my peers. I really am.
for sure, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I didn't prepare anything beforehand too, but I am curious as to your hesitance in bringing up the documentary. Because I have spoken about it before. I spoke a little bit about it in Riley's episode and a little bit in Cam or David's. Can't totally remember.
Yeah,
But you were the one that sent it to me. And I
yeah,
really
yeah.
do desire opening that can of worms. But
I mean, basically, dude, like, I don't want to talk about it for too long, but if I were to, sum it up really well, as short as possible, it would just be like, if you don't believe that there is, corruption and evil in the world, basically you're wrong because I mean, I just hate to be that that guy, that's like, just bringing on the impending doom like everywhere or whatever,
sure.
or even people who just believe like anything they hear. Um, I don't know, man. Like, there just seems like there's a lot of hesitancy
Mhm.
in the creative world
Yeah,
for some reason, and that just like to me makes it so much more obvious how powerful art is,
right.
and how much you can actually affect people and affect what people do forever and ever.
Yeah,
And that's why I want to be a part of, that's why you want to be a part of creative things. I feel like that's always something that drives us people as creatives is to influence, and a little bit of it is like because I need that relief of expressing myself or blah blah blah. But really we're all just trying to share our story.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense.
it does. Because man, I don't I'm not one to believe in coincidences. And the ones that were described in the documentary are too big for me to look past or even understand how somebody could sum it up as a coincidence. And I don't think that the documentary just like is completely right in every aspect. I definitely
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
feel like picking it apart, and she's even like raising questions. She doesn't go into like conclusions she's finding,
Right.
but um, very interesting. I sat there with my mouth wide open at some knowledge learned, some facts that she definitely stated, and my own research that I also did.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah, I sent it to people as well to watch. It's funny that they took one part off though, part 5 or something. That's I would like to watch that because part 4 was like the craziest. Part 3 into part 4 was like insane, if true, insane.
Right.
So
Yeah, and like what you were saying, like I don't take all of it. I don't take all of it that seriously. And that's where I was kind of wanting to steer the direction of, that topic of the documentaries more towards like, man, you just can't believe everything you hear, but there's just so many things that I feel like would surprise a lot of people.
absolutely, yeah, man. I remember seeing you for the first time and being like, "What the hell?" And I don't mean that.
Oh yeah, I get that a lot.
But it makes sense with like the type of music that you were into and performed at the time. Um, yeah, it was like a buzzed head, right, and then longer hair on top. It was combed some specific way, and um,
It was something.
yeah, that's just like an interesting initial image um, to have of you because then I remember starting to hang out with you. Uh, and then we're okay. So did we hang out? We hung out before we were linked together with Trip, right? I think we did some hanging
Yeah.
leading up to Trip.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mhm. And then Trip happened, and that was a bonding experience. I think it was a bonding experience because I asked you to give me the director seat, and which was a hard thing to ask, obviously, as much as it is a hard thing to pass over. Um, and I can't thank you enough um, for being so reasonable and listening to my reasonings um, at the time. I think my main one was you lived almost an hour away and I lived 2 miles away. So to be involved
Right.
with story meetings and auditions, um, I was personally trying to save you a lot of trips coming in because that would be a ton. Um, but I can imagine your spot of being possibly still kind of bummed about that. Um, about, I mean, if roles were reversed and I had handed it over to you and you take it and like win an award with it, I can imagine that would be pretty upsetting. But I also have my own complications with it as well, with Joe writing it and editing it and shooting it. He had a big
Sure.
hand, and he had me on a leash. I felt like the whole time. So I have my
Sure.
own. If that makes you feel any better, I have my own frustrations with the direction. He would say, uh, I heard that he would say he co-directed Trip, um, which at the time I was like, no, you fucking didn't. But yeah, he actually did, and I have to share that with him. Um, and I forget to share it with you. Unfortunately, I forget to share that film with you because our time was not really in the pre-production. It was mostly the production side of it, especially with like. I mean, you were there the night we got robbed, right?
Yes.
You had just left, I think, and then you were there when we got chased. Because
And yes, and our driver was not didn't have his headlights on
yes,
in the
exactly.
dark.
Hmm.
Yes.
He starts the car and then turns it off, and we're like, "Well, now we have to get out of here." And we took off, and we were chased. I think they were just. I don't think they would have done anything. I think they were just like. I mean, there was like two of them and like 6, 7 of us.
I don't even know, dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was just such a crazy ride, man. And it's cool because okay, so I've watched all the podcasts except for Phil's,
Have
except
you
for
really?
maybe like I'm gonna watch like the first 10 or 15 minutes of it because I had to go to work. But I was just listening to his acknowledgement acknowledgments about the film. That
Yes,
was pretty incredible.
absolutely. Even some of the extremes. Joe and I were just talking. I actually just uploaded Joe's um, podcast just like a couple minutes ago, um, and I think what else did we work on together? What else do we? I'm trying to remember. You were there for.
Dude, I don't think we worked on a lot of stuff together.
But we kept
Unless
contact
I just don't
because
remember.
you you left after the associates, right? Never went into bachelor's, and during my whole time in Michigan, we kept in contact and met up quite often. Every couple of months, I feel like we never let it
Mhm.
go much further, which I can't thank you enough for because I don't have another Jake Block in my life. You're that only person, and there's conversations and articulations that I've had with you that I haven't had with other people. Um, and I say that to a lot of friends of mine. I say that to David. I say that to Phil. But it is true. Like they're not the same things being articulated with each person. It's specifically designed to that person, just like my letter to you and to other people there.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So what have you been filling your time with? Have you been watching stuff? Have you been boozing?
Yeah,
Uh,
I've really just been working so much on music just by myself,
cool.
and I just got like into bike riding for some reason, and like
Oh,
there's a lot of great places out where I live just to like go for walks, just like out in the middle of nowhere,
sure.
and so that's just been something. I don't know. I have never like tried to exercise
Mm,
like I have in the last, even like since beginning of this year,
wow,
sort of. So that's been really fun, and feel pretty good.
good for you.
But creatively, a little bit, I've been feeling a little lost at the same time, like kind of just out of the loop,
Mm,
I guess, in a way, out of my own, like off of my own rhythm.
mm. That
I don't
makes
know.
sense. That that happens. I can spot that with musicians. That's a big thing. I have friends who are beautiful singers who have told me that they're just lost with it, and it's not something I can understand. Um, I don't have the ability to. I don't think that I have as musical of a chord as you and my friend Alex um, and other people I've heard this from who seem to get lost with music. I don't know what that is, and I'm really interested in that because I think it's a thing with you guys. I guess I
Yeah,
can maybe
totally.
relate to it with like I can relate to that a little bit with film. There, I go through periods of really studying and like watching great films, iconic films that I should grow my knowledge of, and then I will go through times of just watching bullshit like shows that don't really just like white noise I can just have on the in the background. I do that with music too. Music, I go through a couple months, usually a summer. This is interesting. I usually my summers are music fueled, and then the rest of the year I really don't listen to music. I go through
Hmm.
swings for some reason, but I can be so into music, constantly listening to it when I'm shaving, when I'm driving, when I'm um, cleaning, and then I can just totally not really ever listen to music. And people that I used to be into, artists, um, say 2 years ago, I can't even remember their names or the names of their songs. I'm so like next thing with music. I'm I don't know. Unless it's the ones that really stuck or that I grew up with, like DC Talk or something like that. Like those are the most those will always be with me, I guess. But
Yeah, for sure.
what's your relation to music? Relationship to music? I'm sure it's a complex one.
Um, yeah. I mean, I really try to expand myself as much as possible with music, and with having that, it's always just like a struggle of, what music matches what moods, especially if I'm not knowing like how I'm feeling
Yeah.
in writing like a song. Um, because I guess not necessarily I'm always writing or listening to music based on how I feel at that present time,
Okay.
but I'm usually have some sort of direction of of uh of like motivation or like where that would be coming from.
Hmm.
And I guess that's why I'm so attracted to different genres of music. Like
Sure.
I even just started getting into country music, which is something that's been surrounded like during my high school times because it was like a, you know, more kind of hick country type school.
Sure.
And I just started finding my love for like 60s pop ballads and I've always loved Johnny Cash, but I've like been listening to like Willie Nelson and
Oh,
just some of just yeah, just stuff like that, man.
very cool.
And it hits a spot like I know people use the word, you know, nostalgia all the time, but sometimes it's like a nostalgia that like from uh from a time that you never had, you know. It's like
Oh,
it just sucks you in to that type of world
wow.
so immediately that even if you're not able to relate directly to it, it's just
Mhm.
like you feel exactly what's happening and like where that sound came from.
Yeah, you feel the 60s. You can feel the 70s
Right.
and past. Yeah, no, I totally get you. Wow. I haven't thought about it like that before. Hmm. Wow. That's really cool. And your knowledge of
I feel like
music.
I'm so boring, dude. I'm like so tired. I had like a long day. I feel like I'm being super boring.
No, not at all, dude. No, I think your knowledge of music is impressive, especially with local people, because you often go out when things are opened up, and you'll go see house shows or shows in garages and um, or basements and support other bands and stuff. And that scene is also here in Salem. I've gone to house shows and I've gone to garage shows to see my friends perform. And I don't know. I think they've kind of disbanded, unfortunately, which has not which has kind of prevented me from doing that anymore because I don't know anybody else. But my restaurant here in Salem, we every Thursday to Saturday or Wednesday to Sunday or something like that, we have a new band. We have a band come perform, and we pay them. Um, so when I'm working and things are opened to the public, um, I get exposed to new music, um, like huge variety, variety I wouldn't even like drum up, you know. Um, but but I, who are you into right now, music wise? Who can we plug?
Well, right now I've been listening to a lot of uh, jazz and
Wow.
just like a lot of rap too. I've been working on like rap beats, learning how to make just like how the audio production goes into rap beats. I've been like listening to different types of rap.
Mm,
Um and I'm like so into electronic music. Like I I hope to eventually learn how to make electronic music cuz I feel like it's one of the more complex
mm,
production wise types of music to learn
gotcha. Why is
because you
that?
know they use like so many different like sounds and you can just manipulate frequencies and everything
Oh,
digitally like
it's
it's
like limitless.
incredible.
Like people will
Yeah.
put, like Eminem will put Chris D'Elia's impression of him, the Blapskin video, or lines lines of dialogue in film will be used in electronic music. Um, so I can imagine that it would be fun to put that together, like similar to my love of the puzzle of editing. I love to edit. I can edit all night. and really enjoy um, tweaking and just tightening. Um, so I can imagine that music or electronic music, especially, is um, even bigger of a challenge. A lot more of a challenge, I'm sure. Just like my timeline is so simple on the editing, it's like 3 or 4 levels. But music, I'm sure it's just like huge. You can add so much to it. So when you're doing your music and listening back, are you getting critique from friends? Are you self-critiquing? Like what causes you to where's the line that you cross between, oh, I've put too much or this goes here? Um, what's your process like? Are you a Nazi about change and tweaking? 15
Yeah,
questions
it's a lot of
apparently.
no, but it's a lot of self-critique mostly, and I mean, I show people some of my stuff that I'm working on,
Sure.
but mostly I try to figure it out for myself, or um I don't know, I feel like I am more of a perfectionist than I actually think I am, and that's awesome in certain ways and just totally not awesome in a lot of other ways.
Hmm. What what would be some of the not awesome ways?
Like I don't know, trying to find out like when the song is finished,
Oh yeah.
when
Hmm.
I guess when is it like after like the point of okay, am I done adding stuff now? Like if I get past that level, then it's like, okay, well, is everything that I have that's added up right now, is it perfect the way I want it to be? And um I don't know, it's just so easy to get obsessive about it for me, and
I bet.
sometimes that gets me stuck, and sometimes it like just pushes me so like way forward and abruptly and fast,
Hmm.
where I'm just like coming up with ideas super quickly, and I'm really happy with my work. Then other times like I'm just analyzing it to the point where I'm like, it's never gonna be good enough no matter how hard I try to make it.
Yeah. I can't even imagine that frustration. So, okay, so do you have plans to perform when things open back up? Summer, are you like, I'm gonna hit this spot, I'm gonna hit that spot, like solo stuff?
Yeah, and I have to learn how to do that basically. So just taking the stuff that I've recorded on my computer and then putting it in a um
Hmm.
live action, a lot of different moving parts. Do I want to do it just, by myself, or do I need a couple other people to play with me? That stuff I haven't really thought about yet. I'm just kind of focused on learning um the software right now and just recording, but at
Definitely.
some point, dude, I'm really wanting to incorporate the music skill with the video skill,
Hmm.
somehow be able to combine both of those where, you know, they're so well intertwined, obviously.
You scarred me again with that director's film that I watched of yours, which I can even post. Do you have a YouTube channel?
Was it the for director's class, the experimental one?
experimental one, the one with the TV, and
Yeah,
it gave me a disturbed feeling, even though it's not all that creepy or graphic or anything, but it gives me a feeling of, which is
right.
crazy how you evoke that feeling without showing grotesqueity, you know.
Sure.
That is a talent. Uh, and I don't know if that just came naturally or comes naturally to you, and maybe it's just not practiced enough. But if that knowledge of how to evoke that, it could have just been an accident. I don't know. But you should really practice that. I'm serious.
Yeah, for that one actually came pretty naturally, I guess, because I just kind of winged it on like a day, just by myself.
Yeah.
I knew like what I wanted to go for, so like the projection of it wasn't accidental.
Mm.
But I mean, I didn't think I was gonna be as proud of it as I thought I was. And dude, for some reason, like it makes me kind of sad because I wish I would have applied myself more like how I did with just doing that
Oh,
during college,
yeah.
socially and skillfully.
Yeah.
You know, I wish I'd put myself out there more, made more risks with, trying out different things or um, talking with certain people.
Mm.
Like, yeah, I don't know really where I was going with that. I just feel like I kind of missed out on a lot of things because I was just holding myself back.
I feel that too. And the regrets of college are very real and different for each one of us. I have that somewhat too, but I also just really regret how I spent my money, how I spent my time. I spent my time really seeking um, pleasure fillers instead of career go getting, as my mind said. I should have been a go getter. Um, and I think 40-year-old Colin is really gonna dislike 20-year-old Colin. You know, even 25-year-old Colin. Uh, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I would like to close soon, and I actually double booked myself because I scheduled you and Johnny at the same time. I didn't realize that. Um,
Okay.
so asked him to wait, and I'm going to call him pretty much right at 7. I would hope 7 my time. So, um, thank you so much for checking out my podcasts. Uh, this is so much fun for me. As I said, it's addicting, and I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm not really. I don't know. I don't have any expectations. I'm just trying to share my friends with my friends, and and share who they are to me. Philip Castaneda and Joseph Miller, like they go by those names professionally, but I'm titling them on my videos as Phil and Joe because that's who they are to me, and they're very specific to Joe is the only Joe Miller I've ever had in my life and will ever have. And Phil is the same. And I like being Colin to you guys. I really do. Um, I hope that our time as friends, any sort of ups and downs, is just blended into a good equation. Um, I really do, and yeah. So, um, yeah, I don't have any sort of outros or anything, but thank you again. I um, I sincerely let me hold on. I'll try it again. Um, I sincerely love you and care for your well being and your career to take off, and I want to help share um, your past content and future content. I want to attach it all in here. Um, so I'm going to add some end markers here or somewhere to your stuff. So your
All right,
release
man.
stuff, because I have an EP of yours sitting in my Google Drive, I believe, and I think it was from like 2018 Jan.
Brightest night to memory.
Yes, I believe so. I don't know if it's titled. I think it just says block actually. But
Oh, okay.
you have it actually posted somewhere, right?
Yes, it's on Spotify. It's just
Oh,
a project. Uh, it's just a project from one of the dudes who was in the punk band that I used to be in. He was the guitar
right.
player. Me and him just kind of got together a couple of years after that had happened, and yeah, just put something together, dude. That was so much fun to make, and it was just such a part of my reality during that time. And some of the songs on there, dude, are just so special to me, especially the last song,
It's cool.
which I've been thriving and planning to hopefully
Mm.
shoot a music video to.
Good, good. I remember you sending it to me, and I don't think I paid enough attention to it as I should have. So I'm gonna go back and listen to all of it and share it here, if you don't mind, because
For sure, dude.
I'm excited that you're still working on stuff, and I don't ever want to be a discourager in that path for you. So
Yeah.
yeah, dude. Uh, Again, thank you so much for being my sixth podcast. I can't wait to share you onto my YouTube, and I will probably have this uploaded by later tonight.
Sounds good, buddy.
If not, then tomorrow. But yeah, definitely, dude. All right, I'm gonna call Johnny. So peace out, dude.
All right,
Thanks,
buddy.
man.
It was
All right,
great seeing you, man.
yeah, it was really good seeing you too. Let's do this again. Let's do it again, and
Of
not
course.
let so much time pass in between, for sure.
Please, dude. Please.
Yeah. All right, dude. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Love you, buddy.
Love you too. Peace.